Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most powerful and realistic deepfake tool that I've found yet. Basically, you can take one photo and then you input any video of any person talking and it would animate that photo based on the video's movements. This is super powerful because not only can it make the photo talk, but it can also handle tricky expressions. This is one of the very few tools that can actually animate a photo with tricky expressions. So the tool is called LivePortrait. This is free and open source, and yes, you can download it and run it locally on your computer, which I'll show you in the latter half of this video. Now, this is actually by the team at Kuaishou, which is the company behind Kling. Kling is one of the best AI video generators that you can use today. Their generations are super realistic. The only catch is you need to register with a Chinese number. But I've gotten my Chinese friend to register for me and I've tried it out and it is indeed very legit. But anyways, back to this. So this team also released this tool called LivePortrait, and it's awesome that they made it free and open source. And basically all you need to do is input a video of someone moving their face, and then you plug in any photo of another person and it would map the video's expressions onto that photo. As you can see here, not only does it work with realistic photos, but also black and white photos of famous people, and also oil paintings, as you can see here, and even this fictional statue. Here are some other examples. So here we have some other paintings and black and white photos. Here we have Paul McCartney. And note that because this is free and open source, you can input any photo of anyone you want. There are no restrictions, whereas for other closed source tools, for example, usually if you upload a famous person, it won't allow you to do so. But here, you can do whatever you want. And then here are some other paintings, which it's also able to animate. And note that if the painting has more than one character, you can also get the face to animate all of the faces in the painting or photo. And note that these are tricky expressions. I have not seen another face animator tool that is able to pull it off this well. Notice how the faces just remain very consistent across the entire video. Alright, here's another example. Note that, again, if you have multiple faces in the image, it would actually animate all of the faces. And again, note how everything just remains very consistent. There are no deformations, no hallucinations, no warping along the edges of the face. Everything just seems very real. Here is yet another example. You can see the dude is opening his mouth very wide. And again, I just have not seen any other face animator that's able to do these tricky expressions. Alright, and here's yet another example. Note that it also works with these 3D Pixar-like characters. And it also works with this watercolor drawing style as well. Here are some other examples. It works seamlessly, even though it's not a realistic photo. And here's yet another example. Note that this time the source video, also called the driving video, that's actually a real person, but her face is just really exaggerated. Note that for the photos with multiple people, like the two on the left and then the family on the right, all their faces really do track this original source video. And I must say, it looks very consistent to me. I mean, this is obviously fake just because her expressions are so exaggerated and the heads move so in sync, but there's probably a nice creative use case for this. Alright, now these examples, they are stationary photos, right? The characters don't actually move, it's just the face that moves. Well, you can also do the same thing, but for a video. So for example, here's the driving video. Those are the expressions that we want to use. And then here's the source video. This is not a photo, this is a video of this woman rotating. And then here's the edited video. So you can see not only does it retain the movements of the source video, but it also maps the expressions of the driving video onto her face. And then here's yet another example of a baby. So the source video is just this baby, nothing special. And then in the driving video, this person blinks. So basically, if you stitch it together, you can make the baby blink. How cool is that? And then here's yet another example. Here's the source video, just this person dancing. The driving video is this woman talking. And you can see that you can make this person say things while she is dancing. So, I mean, this is a very powerful tool for a lot of use cases, like, for example, making music videos, or basically just making any character in a video scene talk or giving them any expression you want. Here is yet another example. And there are even more settings you can do with this. So there's actually a dial, which I'll show you in a second, which you can use to open or close the person's eyes. So if you drag it all the way to 0, for example, you can see it closes this dude's eyes. If you drag it all the way to 0.8, it makes the eyes really open. And then if you drag it in the middle somewhere, it looks like this. You can also control how open the mouth is. So again, if you drag this to 0, it closes her mouth. If you drag this to 0.8, it really opens her mouth. And then somewhere in the middle, looks like this. So I'll show you how to use these settings once we install the app. And you know what the cool thing is? You can also generalize this to animals. So here you can get a human to make all sorts of expressions and then plug in a photo of a cat or a dog, or even this, I don't know what the hell this is, like a fox stuffed animal maybe. And then you can basically animate these animals as well using human expressions. That is just so cool. And I'll show you an example in a second. So, I mean, that's all there is to it. And they have released a research paper where they go over the architecture and the methodology. I will link to this page in the description below if you want to learn more. But let's jump in and actually test this out. So all you have to do is click on this code button, which takes you to this GitHub page of the LivePortrait repo. And then if you scroll down a bit, you should see these instructions on how to install it. By the way, I'm using a Dell Precision 5690. You can integrate a powerful RTX 5000 Ada into this. So this is a perfect compact combo for running AI tools locally. Huge thanks to Dell and NVIDIA for sponsoring this. First of all, let's create a new folder just to keep it more organized. I'm going to create it on my desktop, and then I'm going to name this LivePortrait. And then we're going to click into this folder, and then in this navigation bar up here, I'm going to type in CMD, and this will open up our command prompt window. And then going back here, we just need to git clone this. So let me just copy this line first, and this would basically clone this entire repo into our new folder. So I'm going to paste this line here, and you do need to have git installed first. If you don't, here's how to install it. If you already have Git installed, feel free to skip to the next section. So all we got to do is download the latest release for whatever operating system you're using. So I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to click on download for Windows. I'm running 64-bit, so I'm going to click on this to download, and it's now downloading this exe file. So once that's completed, all we got to do is open that exe file and then follow the steps. So I'm going to click on next. I'm just going to go with the default install location, which is program files/git. So I'll click next for that. And then I'm just going to leave this at the default. And then I'm going to click next again and click next here. We're just going to use the default settings for all of these. There's a lot of settings that you need to go through, so I'm just going to click next for all of these. All right, and then it should go ahead and install all the files, so this might take a few minutes. Perfect, so now we have Git installed. All right, so assuming you have Git installed, I'm going to paste this line here. Let's press enter. All right, perfect. So now if you open our LivePortrait folder, we have another LivePortrait folder, and this is the repo that is cloned from here. So you can see the files and the folder structure are the same. All right, so next step, we need to change the directory to the LivePortrait folder, because right now we are still in LivePortrait, all lowercase. This is the folder that we created. And then we need to go one folder in. We need to go into this repo, which is LivePortrait, but capitalized. So we just need to type in cd or change directory to LivePortrait. So you can see now we are inside the LivePortrait repo. Next, we need to create a Conda environment. So I'm going to type in this, and it's going to create an environment using Python 3.9.18. So if you don't have Conda installed, here's how you would install it. Now, I try to make my videos as beginner-friendly as possible. I understand some of you might not even have the most basic packages such as Python or Anaconda installed. So here I'm going to show you how to install Anaconda. If you have it already, feel free to skip to the next section. So I'm just on anaconda.com, and actually what I'm going to do is install mini Conda. So this is a minimalist version of Anaconda. If you install the full Anaconda, it installs a lot of packages and dependencies that you might not need. This just takes up more room on your computer, and of course the installation time is a bit longer. but with mini Conda. It's just a bare bones package, and you can always install additional packages or dependencies afterwards. So we're going to go down, and then here it says latest mini Conda installer links by Python version. We're going to click on that. Now I'm using Windows, so I'm going to install one of these. Now for free and open source AI tools, usually they do not support Python 3.12. So it's better to install the Python 3.11 version. So I'm going to click on this, which should download an exe file to your computer. So once it's finished downloading, simply double click on this and then follow the steps to complete the installation. So I'm going to click next, I agree, and let's set this to all users. I'm just going to go with the default destination folder. And then I'm going to check this final option as well, clear the package cache upon completion. So this just gives you back some more disk space without affecting functionality. All right, once that's completed, let's click next. And then we are finished. Now, we aren't done yet. So if you open up command prompt and you type in conda -- version, you're still going to see that conda is not recognized. And this is because we haven't added anaconda to our path yet. So let's exit out of this. And to add it to our path, we simply search for this function, edit the system environment variables. So we're going to click on this, and then click on environment variables, and then click on the one that says path, and then click edit. And then here's where you add in the path of Anaconda. So it depends where you installed Anaconda. For me, I installed it in program data, so it's going to be in program data / mini Conda. And then if I double click on scripts, you can see that Conda is here. So this is the folder we want to paste. So I'm going to right click on this and then copy as path. And then back in this environment variables, I'm going to click new and then paste in the path here. And then we're going to click OK and then OK and then OK again. So now if you open up command prompt again and you type in conda -- version, you should see that we are running conda 24.5.0. So this shows that we have successfully installed Anaconda. Now, assuming you have Anaconda or mini Conda installed, we just got to paste in this line and then press enter. All right, so this is going to take a while depending on the speed of your internet. We're going to press yes to proceed. All right, perfect. So next step is after we've created the environment, we actually need to activate it before we can do anything. So let's copy this line and then type this back in here, conda activate. And this is telling Anaconda to activate the LivePortrait environment, which we just created. So let's press enter. And once we activate the environment, you should see this LivePortrait in parentheses at the beginning of every line. So this indicates that you have indeed activated your environment. All right, next step is we need to install all the requirements that are specified in this requirements.txt. So this includes installing all these dependencies such as Torch and NumPy and OpenCV and Onyx Runtime GPU. So all we got to do is paste this line in here. Now this is going to take a while depending on your internet again because it's going to install a lot of packages and some of them like Torch for example is 2.7 gigabytes in size. So this is going to take a while to download. All right, if all goes well, it should install all these packages. So the next step here is it says we need to download these pre-trained weights. These are basically the models and neural networks that we need to use to do the inference, and we can download it from Google Drive or Baidu. So I'm going to click on Google Drive, and then I'm going to click download for both of these. So right now you can see it's zipping the file. This is going to take a while depending on how large this folder is. And then while this is zipping, I'm also going to download this folder as well. All right, so I'm just going to choose to download the zip file into here. And then same with the second zip file, I'm just going to download it into our cloned repo folder. All right, so now we have the two zip files downloaded to our folder. It doesn't matter where you download it. All you got to do is unzip the files and extract the folders into the pre-trained weights folder in our repo. So you're going to have one folder called Insight Face. I'm just going to drag this and drop it into pre-trained weights. And then I'm going to exit out of this and then unzip the second zip file, which should contain a LivePortrait folder. So again, I'm going to just drag this into our pre-trained weights folder. All right, so let me exit out of this. And then if you double click into your pre-trained weights folder, you should see two folders, Insight Face, which is what we see here, and LivePortrait, which is what we see here. And if you open up Insight Face, you should see models, and inside models, you should see this Buffalo folder. And then within that, we should see this 2D Onyx and DET Onyx, which is indeed what we see here in the reference. And then if we go to the LivePortrait folder, we should see base models, retargeting models, and that's indeed what we see here as well. And also this landmark.onyx file, which is what we see here. All right, so we're basically good to go. Now, the next step is we can run the inference by typing this line of code directly in your command prompt. But I like a more intuitive interface, so they also provided a Gradio interface. So all we got to do is copy this python app.py and then paste it in here. So this is going to take a while to load. All right, so we should see this gradio.live link. So if you click into this, you can just press Control and then click into this link. This will open up the interface. How cool is that? There are very few software tools that I use every day, but this is one of them, thanks to our sponsor, TurboType. This is a tool that I personally use every day. It's free forever, and it saves me so much time. Basically, you can create custom keyboard shortcuts so that you don't need to keep typing out repetitive things. For example, if there's a prompt that I use in ChatGPT very often, I can make a shortcut here. So when I go to ChatGPT or anywhere else, I just need to type in the shortcut, and voila. Or let's say I have a very long email address. I can also make a shortcut for that, so that wherever I need to enter in my email, I can simply type in the shortcut, and it types out the email. Finally, it also supports rich text. So for example, you can add in bold and italics and add links to your text. So let's say I need to send out a lot of cold emails with the following template. Well, I can just create a shortcut for that, and then whenever I start an email, I just need to type in the shortcut, and voila, the text is already styled and linked for me. This tool saves me so much time every day. There's absolutely no reason not to use this because they have a free forever plan. So definitely check it out. Download the free Chrome extension in the link below. Alright, so let's upload a video and an image to test this out. So in our cloned repo, you should see this assets folder, and then in examples, and then in driving, you should see a few example source videos that you could use. So let's choose this one. I'm going to drag this video into here, and then let's click play to see what it looks like. Alright, so that's the driving video. Next, we are going to upload the photo which we want to clone these expressions onto. So, again, let's just look at a default example first. So if we go back to examples and then source, here are some examples. So let's use this one. Alright. And then all we got to do is click animate. Alright, so our video is ready. Let's play this. And I must say, it looks very similar to the driving video. This is really good, so let me play you this one as well. This is insanely good. That is so cool, and this is totally free and open source. You can run this unlimited times on your computer. And to download these, you simply click on this arrow over here to download it. And then same with this one, you can click on this arrow to download it. Alright, and then if you scroll down a bit, there are two other settings that you can play with. So here is basically how open do you want to keep the eyes. So if you drag this all the way to 0, it's going to close her eyes, and if you drag it all the way to 1 or 0.8, it's going to make her eyes really open. And then target lip open ratio, again, this is how open do you want her mouth to be. So if you drag this all the way to 0, it's going to shut her mouth. If you drag it all the way to 0.8, it's going to open her mouth to the maximum. So let's just keep this at, I don't know, like 0.3 or something for the target lip. Let's drag this all the way to 0 to close her eyes, and then click retargeting and see what we get. So you can see this has definitely closed her eyes. Now let's drag her mouth all the way to the max. Let's drag her eyes all the way to the max as well and see what that looks like. I think it's going to create something horrifying. Oh yeah, that's pretty horrifying. You're going to have a nightmare about this tonight. Alright, so let's keep it at like here, for example, and then let's keep her mouth closed this time and then click retargeting. So now we can see her mouth is completely closed because we dragged it at 0. So really cool tool. Let's try some more examples. All right, so let's start all over. Let's say you've exited out of this and you want to reopen LivePortrait. Well, all you need to do is go into your cloned repo folder, and then at the top here, type in cmd, which will open up command prompt, and then we need to activate the Conda environment. So we just need to type in Conda, activate, and then LivePortrait. Note the uppercase letters. And then again, it's going to be activated once you see this LivePortrait in parentheses at the start of every line. And then once you do that, all you got to do is type in python app.py. And this basically runs this app.py file, which creates a Gradio interface. So depending on your hardware, this might take a few minutes to load. All right, so we're going to see a new Gradio link, which we can press Control and then click to open the link. And so now let's test out a few new images that aren't in the demonstrations. So what I've done is I've created a few test images. Let's test out the first one, which is of this Disney Pixar 3D character, and see if it can animate this face. So for the video, let's try this one. I'll play you this clip first so you can see what it looks like. All right, let's see if it can pull this off. So I'm going to click animate. And here we go. Let's play this. Very nice. And here's a comparison with the original video. Very, very nice. All right, let's try something else. Let's try an anime character. And then for the video, let's try this one. I'm going to play this for you first so you can see what the original video looks like. Wow, this is a tricky expression. I'm not sure if it can pull this off, but let's see. So let's click animate. If it's able to pull this off, I would be really impressed. All right, let's see the final result. Wow. Holy smokes, this is really good. Let me play you the comparison as well. Holy smokes, this is insanely impressive. I mean, this is just a really short demonstration, but the fact that it's able to take the expressions of this human and map it onto an anime character, this opens up so many possibilities. Think of, like, in the future, anyone could just create their own anime, and then they would create every scene using an image generator like Stable Diffusion, and then they would just film themselves talking or moving around, and then using this tool, their movements could be mapped onto the anime characters of their images. So this gives you total control of how these anime characters can move or talk. And speaking of talking, you could also easily just change your voice into any voice in the universe. So we've already covered plenty of free open source tools for you to change your voice into someone else. For example, using RVC or Okada, which is a real-time voice changer. But anyways, back to this. I was just super impressed that it's able to pull this off. All right, let's try another example. This time I'm going to use a video that's not provided by them. So I'm going to use this video of Bezos talking. Let me play this for you.
Followed by irrelevance. Followed by excruciating, painful decline.
All right, and then we're gonna choose an image. Let's try this one. All right, then we're gonna click animate, and let's see what this gives us. All right, let's play this. Not bad. Note that the output video does not have any audio, so we gotta stitch the original Jeff Bezos audio onto here manually. So let me play you this comparison clip, and I'm gonna do some post-processing where I also paste in the audio of Jeff Bezos. So let me play this for you.
Followed by irrelevance. Followed by excruciating, painful decline.
So you can see this is very good, very realistic. It completely tracks the head movements, the eyes, the mouth movements of Jeff Bezos and maps it onto this photo. Very impressive. This is a very powerful way for you to completely control how a character talks or moves. If you've been following my channel, I've also introduced a few other of these face animator tools like Hello, which is spelled like this, and this basically takes in an input audio and animates a photo. Now the problem with this is, yes, you can get the photo to talk, but you have zero control over the movements or the expressions of the head, right? You're just plugging in an audio, but here you're plugging in an entire video with audio. So not only can you get a person to talk, but you can also control the tilt or the angle of the head, control the eye movements, where this person is looking, and also control the mouth movements and other subtle movements of this face and map it onto your image. So this is an extremely powerful tool. All right, let's try something trickier. I'm going to drag and drop an image of a Shiba Inu. I would be even more impressed if it's able to animate this dog with a video. So let's try a different video this time. Let's go with this one. Let me play this for you first so you see what it looks like. Wow, this is really tricky. How on earth is it gonna pull this off? Let's click animate and see what happens. And by the way, these animations are really quick. It takes like only 30 seconds to generate this. Whereas a lot of other open source video generators that I've played with before, they took an extremely long time to generate. But this one is very quick. All right, let's see what we get. Holy smokes. This is really good for a 2.5D portrait of a Shiba Inu. Let me play you the comparison video as well. Again, I'm just really impressed. You can see the dog's eyes are tracking the man's eyes, but there are some parts, like for example, where the man is showing his teeth here. The dog is not really opening his mouth and showing teeth. But other than that, I mean, this is a very tricky generation, right? We are trying to map the expressions of a human onto this made-up portrait of a dog, but it's able to do this very seamlessly. How crazy is that? All right, final image, let's give it an easy one. I'm just going to use this portrait of a woman. Again, this was made in Stable Diffusion. We're going to use the same input video, and let's see what this gives us. It should be able to animate her very well, since this is just human to human. All right, let's see what we get. Wow, this is very, very good. You can see her eyes, her mouth. It's following this man's movements perfectly. So let me play you the comparison video. This is just insanely good. I can't see any artifacts, any flaws with this generated video. This does look like the original woman, and she is moving exactly like how the man moves. Again, you can see how powerful this tool can be. Anyone can make their own films. They just need to generate their scenes in Stable Diffusion, and then to animate the character, all you need to do is film yourself talking or moving around, and then this AI can extrapolate your movements and map it onto the characters that you generated. This gives you total control of how you want the characters to move and talk. I mean, this is just an insanely powerful tool, and I can't believe this is free and open source, right? So anyone can just download it and run it for free for unlimited times on their computer. So that sums it up for LivePortrait. Let me know in the comments what you think of this, and if you've gotten a chance to play around with it, let me know what cool or horrifying generations you were able to come up with. As always, I will be on the lookout for the newest and coolest AI tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, we built a site where you can find all the AI tools out there, as well as look for jobs in AI machine learning, data science, and more. Check that out at ai-search.io. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.